There is a state in which you notice that you are no longer a person, and instead you are one with the universe.
So
And
that speaks to the resonance.
Yes, but this one with the universe is, of course, not accurately modeling that you are indeed some God entity or indeed the universe becoming aware of itself, even though you get this experience. I believe that you get this experience because your mind is modeling the fact that you are no longer identified with the personal self in that state, but you have transcended this division between the self model and the world model, and you are experiencing yourself as your mind, as something that is representing a universe.
But that's still part of the model.
Yes. So it's inside of the model. Still, you're still inside of patterns that are generated in your brain and in your organism. And what you are now experiencing is that you're no longer this personal self in there, but you are the entirety of the mind and its contents.
Why is it so hard to get there?
A lot of people who get into this state think this or associated with enlightenment. I suspect it's a favorite training goal for a number of meditators. But I think that enlightenment is in some sense more mundane, and it's a step further or sideways. It's the state where you realize that everything is a representation.
Yeah, you say enlightenment is a realization of how experience is implemented.
Yes. So basically, you notice at some point that your qualia can be deconstructed.
Reverse engineered? What, like almost like a schematic of it? What?
You can start with looking at a face. Maybe look at your own face in a mirror.
Yeah.
Look at your face for a few hours in a mirror or for a few minutes. At some point, it will look very weird, and because you notice that there's actually no face. You basically start unseeing the face. What you see is the geometry, and then you can assemble the geometry and realize how that geometry is being constructed in your mind. And you can learn to modify this. So basically, you can change these generators in your own mind to shift the face around or to change the construction of the face, to change the way in which the features are being assembled.
Why don't we do that more often? Why don't we start really messing with reality without the use of drugs or anything else? Why don't we get good at this kind of thing? Like intentionally.
Why should we? Why would
because
you
you can
that?
morph reality into something more pleasant for yourself. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, that is probably what you shouldn't be doing, right? Because outside of your personal self, this outer mind is probably a relatively smart agent. And what you often notice is that you have thoughts about how you should live, but you observe yourself doing different things and have different feelings. And that's because your outer mind doesn't believe you and doesn't believe your rational thoughts.
Well, can't you just silence the outer mind?
The thing is that the outer mind is usually smarter than you are. Rational thinking is very brittle. It's very hard to use logic and symbolic thinking to have an accurate model of the world. So there is often an underlying system that is looking at your rational thoughts and then tells you, no, you're still missing something. Your gut feeling is still saying something else. And this can be, for instance, you find a partner that looks perfect, or you find a deal when you build a company or whatever that looks perfect to you. And yet at some level you feel something is off and you cannot put your finger on it. And the more you reason about it, the better it looks to you. But the system that is outside still tells you, no, you're missing something.
And that system is powerful.
People call this intuition, right? Intuition is this unreflected part of your attitude composition and computation, where you produce a model of how you relate to the world and what you need to do it in it and what you can do in it and what's going to happen, that is usually deeper and often more accurate than your reason.